Hey there, guys. Down over $40,000 today, and I've just been having a really hard time today. I've been just like sitting around, super depressed, just like moving seat to seat, sitting on the couch, and sitting over at the table and stuff. And I've just been super depressed all day. I haven't even been eating. I've just been like drinking water and stuff all day. Down $40,000+ today in the public account today. Just kidding. I don't even care. I don't even care. Oh man, we worked so hard for days like this. 40,000 down, and it literally doesn't even affect you. But we got a lot to go through in today's video, folks. A lot to affect you, and I want to show you that at the start. So, however much you were down today, you might not have been down quite that much. Okay, and remember, I was down more than that if you had my other portfolios today. Today was probably, I would say, 60, 70, maybe $80,000 down if you add up everything here today, okay? So, rough one nonetheless. A lot to get through in today's video. First, we're going to talk about the Tesla crash. We're going to address that. We're going to talk about how low is Tesla stock going to go in my personal opinion, okay? Then we're going to get into, I sold 50% of something today. 50%, half of something. And so we'll get into what I sold, why I sold it. We'll talk about what I did with that money. And then we're going to speak about PayPal in this video as well, okay? So we're going to address all those in this video here today. I appreciate y'all joining me. As always, all I need from you, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. That's it. We'll get into this, guys. Also, if you're looking to join my private group and level up a little bit, pin comment down there. Alrighty, guys, so let's start going through this. Obviously, it was the big crash, the brutal sell-off in Tesla here today. Even more brutal than I think a lot of folks were anticipating. A 12% plus sell-off here today. In the public account, which is where I own my Tesla shares at, I don't own, I own a little Tesla in the Patreon portfolio, and outside of that, I don't own any other Tesla shares in any other portfolio. So that was why the public account was the big down account here today. $42,000+ down on Tesla here today. I mean, just a brutal sell-off, obviously. I mean, that's a huge, massive move down. Now, stock closed at 182. I mean, this is the worst I've ever seen it in terms of Tesla to start a year. I've never seen it this bad. I've seen some, since I've been in the stock, I've seen some pretty tough starts to the year, but never anything like this. This is insane. I mean, 26.5% to start the year. Woo-wee! That's holy smokes, this ain't no jokers, right? Brutal. By the way, completely random, but I was looking at some stocks last night. You want to know the hottest stock I possibly found? The Planet, 35% plus already year to date. That's a little wild, okay? Alrighty, so right off the bat here, the Tesla haters are obviously out with their pitchforks here today. They're out with their pitchforks. Everybody that I thought would be out there on X today, on the forums, on CNBC, everywhere, talking trash about Tesla. Guess what? They were all out in full force today. That's the word I'm looking for. Full force. They were all out there spreading their stuff, talking trash, doing what they do. Oh, Tesla, blah, blah, blah. Tesla's going to 50, 60 bucks. Same people that predicted that last year. Going, at the end of 2022, these same people were saying Tesla's going 50 bucks, 60 bucks. Instead it went to 200. It's just, consistently out there. Everybody I thought would be trashing it today, all were trashing it today with their pitchforks out. Today was a great day for those folks. They get so much pleasure in seeing Tesla investors lose money. They really do. Tesla drives people crazy. And that's what happened. Fast money. I sent this to a friend. I mean, I knew it. I freaking knew it. Dan Nathan on Fast Money here today. I was like, there's no way after Tesla goes down the way it did today that Dan Nathan's not going to be on that show. And sure enough, he was on Tesla, on the show today talking about Tesla. Yep. You look at the message boards here today. Look at this. Next stop for Tesla stock is the pink sheets. Ooh, the pink sheets. So we're going to be a penny stock. Okay, the pink sheets. Hot Wheels sold more cars than Tesla. The company is finished. Finished. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. I want to know who the people are that thumb these comments up. I really do. And I'm like, maybe it's just I don't know. Like sometimes I look at that and I'm just like, who's actually doing that, right? Look at this. Most hyped company ever. Ooh, bearish. Bearish. China will always support local homegrown brands before foreign facts. The collapse of Elon Musk and Tesla is going to be absolutely epic. Funny how no one cares about interest rates now. BYD sold more cars than Tesla. Massive threats everywhere. The fraud of this company is playing out. Wow. Tesla's a fraud of a company. Holy smoke, this ain't no joker. So exactly what I thought would play out today is exactly what played out. There's massive hatred of Tesla all came to roost and all came to shine here today. Okay. Now, I thought with everything, all the bad points talked about, we had already talked about that last night on the channel, and then you're going to hear that a million times from the bears, talked about over and over and over again. Let me give you a glimmer of the good news, okay? Because there is actually, believe it or not, there is some really good news in regards to Tesla. No one's really paying attention to it right now, but there is actually some good news. Just as 2 or 3 years ago, no one was paying attention to the potential bad news that was coming that I was warning everybody about way back in 2021. And I said the stock would have a struggle for the next 2 to 3 years. Sure enough, it's all played out. But I see much brighter days ahead for Tesla, in 2025 and in future years. Much brighter days ahead, okay? Here's the deal. One, this company has nearly $30 billion of cash on that balance sheet now. And this is all while they've been spending like insanity mode on CapEx. So that's insane, okay? Secondly, the company sold 1.8 million cars in 2023, a by far and away all-time record. Keep that in mind, by far and away all-time record. Third, next, and this is in a tougher environment, by the way, they moved 1.8 million vehicles. Third, their next generation vehicles on the way. We'll see when maybe we get that shown off at some point this year, but it's on the way, baby, okay? And believe me, they've been working on that for a while behind the scenes. And when I say a while, I'm talking years. Fourth, Cybertruck is ramping this year. Everybody conveniently forgets that. But I'm like, this is still the most talked about, hyped, excited vehicle in the history of mankind. It's still ramping this year. And just, everybody forgot about that, so that's going on, okay? Fifth, margins are still incredible for this company. As bad as margins have dropped over the past 12 to 18 months, they're still phenomenal if you put them against almost anybody in the auto sector. So I think that's a little glimmer of good news, okay? 6 is the big price cuts are likely done now at this point in time. In my opinion, the more likely probability is prices will start to rise in the back half of the year. But in terms of big price cuts, those are likely done now at this point in time. Elon and the team did not signal any sort of big price cuts coming anymore at this point in time. And I thought that mattered because they could have signaled that on the conference call. I didn't hear anything on the conference call about them talking about big price cuts coming. And seventh thing is interest rates. Are interest rates likely to go lower or higher from here? Just on the front page of CNBC an hour ago, I was on there, and I was just reading about Levi's is cutting a bunch of employees, Microsoft's cutting a bunch of employees, and another company was cutting a bunch of employees as well. Can't remember what the third company was that was cutting a bunch of their workforce also. Right on the front page of CNBC, right? So, are interest rates going higher or lower from here? More than likely lower, right? Which is obviously going to be a good thing for Tesla overall. So, despite all this bad news, despite the bears talking all their trash they're going to talk over this next bit of time, there's a lot of good news and there's a lot of things to be excited about for Tesla for 2025 and beyond, right? So, that's kind of what's going on there. Now, what did I sell 50% of here today? And this was kind of a calculated decision. I had already, I would say, premeditated this decision to sell off half of what I sold off here. And then we'll speak about what I did with the money, and then we'll speak about PayPal from there. And we're also going to talk about kind of Tesla and how low I think the stock could potentially go. Okay. So what I went ahead and sold here is I did sell this. I sold one put option contract in regards to good old Tesla Maesla. Okay. I've been sitting on 2 contracts. I've made a lot of money on this. It's a huge profit I've made since October, roughly, is when I bought this hedge. And I have a few hedges on the market. I just look at these as insurance. And whenever I think about insurance, I don't even think about making money. I just think about covering myself in case there's a problem. No different than auto insurance. You technically throw money away every single month on auto insurance and homeowners insurance and all those things, right? Because you're more than likely not going to use them. Good. That's a good thing. And health insurance as well. You're more than likely not going to use them. That's the way I think about hedging. But it's pretty sweet if I ever get to make a super huge profit off those hedges, right? And this is one of those situations that obviously played out this way, right? So we were up 77% on this hedge here, and so I went ahead and sold one of my put option contracts on Tesla. I got $76.22 for that. So it was a little less than $8,000 in proceeds there. And so now I just hold this one contract, and my plan is if Tesla stock goes under 175, keep in mind right now it's about 182, if it goes under 175, I'll likely sell my other contract there. Now, in regards to Tesla, how much lower do I think it can go? I think we're closer to a bottom on Tesla than a lot of people might assume, outside of a stock market crash, something where the S&P falls, 15, 20, 25%, something like that, right? Because everything's on the table if that happens. But then you could say every stock's going massively lower. If you talk about the S&P 500 falls a ton, it's not just Tesla, it's everything's going to fall massively in that sort of environment. So outside of a big, huge, epic move down for the S&P 500 and for the NASDAQ, outside of that, I think we're much closer to a bottom than a lot of people realize in regards to Tesla. And I think the story starts to get a lot better in the back half of this year. And so I think if anything, you're going to see people start to step in, investors start to step in and buy this stock over this next 4 to 6 months. And I think they'll continue to build positions, understanding that likely in the back half of the year and in the future, the story's going to get a lot better. And imagine the hype that's going to start around Tesla stock. Remember, Tesla's driven by two things as far as stock. One is the numbers. The second thing is a hype. And when people are super not hyped about the stock, as it is right now, the sentiment's about as bad as I've ever seen around Tesla stock. But then they go through these major hype cycles around a big product announcement or something like that, right? Think about when Cybertruck was shown off back in the day. So, can you imagine whenever the day is that Tesla announces they're going to show off the next generation vehicle? Do you know the amount of debate, social media attention is going to happen around that? There's a potential. Elon's talking about that vehicle going into production at some point in the second half of 2025. If that's going to play out that way, you've got to show off this vehicle in the second half of this year, right? So I'm not the only person that understands this and thinks these things through. And so my hunch is, my thought process is, you're probably going to see investors start to position into the stock over this next 4 to 6 months. And I think there'll be people buying every dip in sight for this stock. It does not mean the stock price will necessarily go up in the short term, right? But I think they're going to see a lot of momentum here. And so I don't think it's a situation where people are just going to dump Tesla, because in order to keep dumping Tesla nonstop, you either need a crash in the markets or you need a situation where people don't feel confident about the long-term future of Tesla. I don't think you can have doubts about the long-term future of Tesla. I think you could have doubts about 2024, the numbers around 2024 when it comes to Tesla. I think that's fair play. But if you're doubting the next 5 years in Tesla, I think you're making a huge, huge epic mistake. And I don't think anybody would take that bet. And if you're really confident in that, short the stock. Who's going to short the stock? No one's going to short the stock because they know better than that deep down inside, okay? And so that's kind of my thought process here. Now, I am hoping it does go under 175 because then I can get out of my other put option contract there. But I don't want to bank on Tesla going back down to $100 where it started 2023. I think it's a pretty low probability. It's a possibility, but a pretty low probability. And under 100, like some of these people predicting 50, 60 bucks, things like that. No. I don't want anywhere near those sorts of predictions, okay? No, expectations, right? This is a good chart they showed on CNBC here about kind of Tesla's deliveries over time, right? So expectations now are low for 2024. Analysts were already kind of bearish, and then you have Elon and the team come out and say notably lower. I mean, there's some expectations now that Tesla's not even going to deliver 2 million vehicles in 2024. So we're talking about a situation here where expectations are insanely low for Tesla. I mean, insanely low. That's actually a great setup, because then we're talking about if Tesla comes throughout the year and just, things are a little better than they had anticipated, than analysts anticipated, where do you think the stock price is going? Obviously upward, okay? Now, next up here, Elon, right? He's going to figure it out. And when I say it out, I mean whatever this tough period they're going through, he's already got it figured out. He's going to figure it out, okay? He always does. He always comes through. Just ask the shorts who have bet against this guy over the years how it's played out for them. And they've lost a fortune against him, okay? You don't bet against Elon. He's going to figure it out. Tesla's going to get back on the right track. 2024 will kind of be a bit of an off year for the company, probably in terms of production. And then also in 2025, you'll see production start going up massively again, and then obviously in the future years as well, right? Because 2025, one, the Cybertruck's going to be fully 100% ramped in 2025. Secondly, on top of that, right, you're going to have this situation where a Model 2 could potentially go into production in the second half of the year he's talking about. If that happens, I mean, alone with Cybertruck, as long as they have the lower tiered Cybertruck in the market, that growth rate's going to be ridiculous for the company. I'm like, that's going to be insane alone, right? So Elon's going to figure it out. Here's the deal, okay? They just came off a year where they did a little less than $100 billion of revenue, $96.7 billion in revenue, right? 2013, this company did $2 billion. Sometimes you got to zoom out a little bit. Zoom out a little bit, get a little bigger picture here, okay? Because everybody gets so lost in what deliveries are going to be in the next quarter and the next 2 quarters and this and that and the margin short term. At the end of the day, Elon took this company from $2 billion of revenue to nearly $100 billion in revenue in a decade, right? Took this company from an epic money loser, horrible margin company to margins that are top tier, even in a bad margin environment for them, margins that are top tier. Profitability that's top tier. I mean, it's insane. So, that's not just Elon, that's the whole Tesla team they have there. That's the whole brain trust of that company, right? So, the moral of the story is zoom out. Elon will figure it out. He's going to get the company, I don't even say back on the right track because they're already doing so much better than anybody else could do. It's just bottom line. Just in terms of if you're comparing Tesla to Tesla, get Tesla to that next level of growth. He's got it. Okay? So that's that. Okay? Now, what did I go ahead and do with the proceeds of that money? So what I went ahead and did is I did go in and get 2 hedges. If you're part of the private stock group, you can see those 2 hedges there. And then other than that, I went ahead and I bought another 135 shares of Cake here today. Cake is a stock I got to build out. I came to the thought process of like, I've got to add as many shares as I can over the next 2 years of Cake. Over the next 2 years. Like, there's no limit to how high I could take Cake. Like, Cake is such a special stock, in my opinion. I don't think a lot of people see it right now, but it's such a special opportunity that I'm just like, I need to buy every share in sight for a while in regards to that one. It could be, honestly, many years. I just continue to add to Cake, okay? Now, so we covered that. We covered the Tesla crash. We covered what I sold, all those sorts of things, okay? Now let's go ahead and talk about PayPal. So first and foremost, I reacted to the entire Alex Chris, we can call it, I don't want to call it a presentation because it wasn't really a presentation, but the Alex Chris show, everything he showed off, I reacted to that on my reaction channel. Jeremy Lefebvre Makes Money. So if you want to see that, you can obviously see that reaction, okay? Here's the deal in regards to PayPal, okay? Let's just get factual around PayPal, okay? This is a company growing revenues, check. Company growing their bottom line, check. Company that is well positioned in the future, like in terms of, are more and more people interested in using digital payments? Yes or no? Yes, they are, right? So we have all that going for ourselves. It's a growth company, top line, bottom line. Are they going to grow top line and bottom line in 2024? More than likely, yes. And it's just a question of like how much. Is a company growing bottom line at a faster clip than their top line? Answers also yes. Always a very good sign for a company, right? Now they just launched 6 different innovations. When did Alex Chris come onto the company? I mean, that was, oh gosh, how long ago was that? Did Alex Chris come into the company? That was probably 4 months ago, roughly? I think it was 4 months ago, right? They already have 6 big innovations. The main one, all of them have huge potential, but the main one is faster checkout and also the ability to go retailer by retailer through e-commerce and have one easy login process using your face or fingerprint, and all your info is automatically entered in, which is such a seamless experience. That is like beauty on beauty. Anytime you can make things a lot more convenient for shoppers, it's going to be phenomenal. So when I just look at the good balance sheet or bad balance sheet, good balance sheet. Low PE or high PE, such a low PE on the stock, insanely undervalued, right? So if I go thing by thing by thing by thing with this company, share buyback in place, right? In innovation, now they got innovation. That was a one negative you could say is, man, PayPal hasn't done anything over the past few years as far as innovation. You can't say that anymore. Not after today. And so when I look at PayPal, I see just a massive hidden gem that is not that high risk, that has big reward potential, and I love the setup here. Now, with that being said, this is obviously a stock that Wall Street has hated over the past number of years, right? And that's fair play. But here's the deal, okay? I believe that Wall Street's going to pile into the stock. And I mean, absolutely pile into the stock. I think momentum will start coming in the stock pretty aggressively in the shorter term. I'm not even talking about over the next 5 years. I'm talking about much shorter term here, where investors will look to start to pile into these shares. I think especially as Alex Chriss gets a couple of these earnings reports underneath him, I think it's just a matter of time before Wall Street starts to respect the stock and starts to come into the stock, because you just don't have anything you can say about it. Massive user base, scale, profitability, revenue growth, profit growth. Like, there's nothing you can say now. And they got the innovation on top to give themselves a bigger moat for the future and to ensure that they grow very nicely over the next 5-10 years. I mean, there's nothing you can really say now at this point in time. Their competitors have been their competitors for a long time, and now PayPal is starting to move exponentially faster than all their competitors, right? And you think about all their competitors, most of their competitors, payment-related stuff is like the 10th most important thing for them, 15th most important, 20th most important, right? Think about Apple. Like, where does Apple payments rank for Apple in terms of importance? Tell me that. Not very high. Apple's got such bigger fishes to fry out there. Where does it rank for PayPal? Number one most important. It's hard to compete against a company that's the number one thing they're focused on. You're not going to be able to outcompete them. So when I look at Alex Chriss, what he's pulling off here, I mean, it's magical. And so I think we got much brighter days ahead for this one. I think Wall Street will pile in. And you got to understand, once Wall Street starts that buying cycle, it will happen quickly. Because, look at Meta as a perfect example of that, right? Look at NVIDIA, perfect example of that, where, I mean, as soon as the buying pressure starts coming in, it is like exponential in terms of all of a sudden no one wants to sell the stock, and then you just got person after person, fund after fund, wanting to buy in and buy in and buy in. Alex Chriss understands, one of the other important things he showed me here recently, is he understands that he's got to do PR. He's got to come out, talk to these big investors, talk to these big funds, get them to understand the company, what they're up to, where they're going after, how they're going to grow the company, everything like that across the board, right? And today's event showed me that. Also, him going on CNBC, what was that, 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago? That showed me that as well, that he fully understands, like, he needs to not, the company didn't necessarily need to be saved. The company needs to get to the next place of innovation so people are confident it's going to be a growing company in the next 10 years. He's doing that. But the other huge component is it's a broken stock. Not a broken company, it's a broken stock. The stock's completely shattered. It's broken. It's trading at a 10.4 rupee or whatever. That's silly. For PayPal, for the growth rates they're putting up on their top line, bottom line at a 10 PE, this doesn't even make sense. It's not even logical. And so a big portion of what he's got to do is PR. Public relations in the investor community, get everybody to understand the story. And then as he puts up the numbers, the innovation continues to roll out. Wall Street's going to come on this baby, and they're going to roll on it, in my opinion. This has been kind of the bottoming out trough period. We've kind of been in here for a bit, and I think it's much brighter days. And I mean, if you look at the chart, it kind of shows you that, right? We had the epic sell-off, and then we just kind of been in this bottoming out. Get everybody out who doesn't want to be part of this train, and then we'll start a next big upward roll. And I don't think we're going to go straight up like this was straight up. I think it's just going to be a gradual build over the next several years. That's my personal opinion. We'll see how it all plays out, obviously, but that's my opinion. Okay, folks, appreciate you joining me. Thanks so much for being here as always. If you're looking to apply, join my private group, take your investing level up to a much higher level, then check out pinned comment down there. Get access to all my best courses, access to 6-7-figure Discord chat, access to see all the moves I'm making in my nearly $2 million Fidelity account, which took a big hit today. Much love as always, and have a great day.